Hello, and welcome to Three Geeks in a Pod. My name is Errol.
I'm Manda.
And I'm Ja-Mez. And I'm Ja-Mez.
Sorry, I was trying to be serious that whole time.
I know. You know, last week you didn't say man pants.
No?
You actually withheld.
Oh.
It was very...
It's been a long time since I've said man pans.
What, today?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure you said it like 6 times in the last episode.
See,
Well, I mean, at the
only
beginning,
6
at
out
the-
of an hour, that's pretty
You didn't
good.
interrupt me at the beginning like you normally do. When I
Oh,
say my name's
wow.
Manda, and you're like, man pants! And then,
Man,
yeah.
what was I doing? Was I distracted?
You just, I don't know, went on to
No,
the
I think you
top.
flubbed the beginning of...
And welcome Ja-Mez, who's finally
Welcome
here.
back.
Woo! Did you say you welcome Dad? Do you
Back.
consider him your daddy?
This got creepy really fast.
Welcome back, Ja-Mez.
None of this is scripted. It's just all man pans being uncomfortable and awkward all
No,
the
it's all
time.
there.
She's not the only one uncomfortable right now. Well, normally we start with the news, so I figured we'd jump right into that since we kind of missed... Well, you guys tried last time,
We
but it
tried. You're the
was...
newsman.
You did better last week than you did the first week. The first week was just
See?
abysmal.
We're awesome.
And repeating the news that we did 2 weeks ago
See,
before
because
that.
we
and then-
did badly the first time, so...
You didn't do badly, you just kind
Burn.
of skipped it, so...
No, we just skimmed it.
Skimmed it. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
well.
Like milk.
Yep.
Milk
Yeah,
makes
no.
me flow.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord.
And now everybody knows.
I'd almost
That's
forgotten what this was
great.
like.
Almost. But you came back.
The news.
The news.
We'll start with one of the things that got me really excited this week, The Muppets. They're doing a sequel, of course, to the film from 2011.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jason Segel's not going to be returning because he's pursuing other projects, but his co-writer and the director of the first one are back. They've also got some casting news. Burrell, who's famous for his role on Modern Family. Yeah, he's hilarious on that.
Oh, that's
he's going to be
awesome.
playing an Interpol agent.
Oh, he'll be good as that.
Yeah, and they're talking about the lead right now. Someone is in talks for it, Ricky Gervais,
Really?
which I'm really
Oh, wow.
excited about.
I don't know how I feel about that,
Well,
actually.
If you've seen, there's a clip of him, I think it's with Elmo
Yeah.
on Sesame Street. It's hilarious.
No, that clip is hilarious. The
Yeah.
only trouble is that if you've ever watched any of his movies, it doesn't seem to pan out to as hilarious.
Well, no, because
Am
he
I like
likes,
even registering? Okay, sorry.
he likes to do, when he's in charge of the film, he likes to do very awkward comedy,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
he's not always like that. He can be in a lot of different other roles and still be good. So it doesn't always need to be The Office or what was that liar movie?
No, I'm not
Extras.
even talking about that.
Extras,
I
yeah.
think actually, a lot of the things about the extras is funny.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Oh, Extras was hilarious, but he can do other stuff. I don't think he's.
sort of funny is the thing. Yeah.
I think it'll be. I think he'll be fine.
interested.
It depends on what he does, so it'll be cool.
Yeah. Cool.
It's really cool because I'm on a huge Ricky Gervais kick right now, listening to all of his podcasts and watching Idiot Abroad. And
Idiot Abroad.
it's so genius.
Yep.
Anyways, that's not part of the news. Just I just really I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the Muppets anyways. But
Anyway,
yes, you keep
there's a
correcting me on
new
that.
grammar thing that Errol can correct on. It's
No,
not
he's been
boom.
I always say anyway. You know that.
he's been correcting me on that for a while.
I do it to Luke all the time.
Oh, I don't hear it then.
That's why he always says it. Luke being the guy from our musical. Red shirt Luke.
Luke, be a Jedi tonight. Next news. Are you guys looking for gift ideas for me for this year?
Nope.
Because I have a few. Ouch.
We're all so close as creative partners.
Sorry, Ja-Mez. Let's just
It's
say
okay.
that some of us say don't have jobs or money.
I didn't actually mean that. It was just supposed to be a lead into an article that I thought was
Okay.
interesting.
You didn't want us to answer
Poor
then.
No, I'm not actually looking for gifts. It was just an idea
Yes,
because.
he was, and then we burned him.
Well, no,
Poor
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't
Ja-Mez.
be able to afford these anyways because they are very pricey. An article came out in the Toronto Star yesterday about different items from like different toys from our childhood that are now fetching huge prices on eBay. There's stuff like Stretch Armstrong dolls, which are going between almost $6,000 to $15,000 online.
So I
That
guess
thing?
the 6,000 one is like the one with all like the corn syrup inside is all stretched out and
No, that one's the Stretch Hulk. And the $15,000 one is the Stretch Batman.
Stretch Batman.
Yes, they made different variations when Stretch Armstrong didn't sell as well.
Who's this Armstrong, and why should I care?
If you're looking for original 1984 Xavier Roberts design Cabbage Patch dolls, you can find them for about $17,000.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I still have my Cabbage Patch dolls.
I'm sorry, $1,700.
Like, I have mine from when I was
remember
born.
that these are all like mint condition sort of collectibles.
They could have mine and went through the wash a couple times.
Pretty sure that's not mint.
I'm pretty sure that would get me $500 though. Come on.
So you might. Yeah, some of these are actually
Her name is Yasmin.
There's actually two different Ghostbusters toys. A Pete Venkman action figure, which is mint on card, which sold for it's on sale for about $350, and then a Mr. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man action figure, which sells for about almost $400. A vintage 1962 Barbies can be yours for about $3,000.
Oh, we could clean out my grandma's attic, actually, and she has all sorts of Barbies in mint condition boxes.
Yeah,
nice.
Did you munch on them?
I did not. She wouldn't let us. Oh. We just wanted to play with them, but no.
And then the one I was most excited about, original 1988 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, mint on card, all four of them selling for $1,100.
Jeez.
Oh, that's cheaper.
Cheaper than $17,000.
Do you have $1,100 you willing to give me to buy them for Christmas?
That's cheaper than the $17,000 though.
Yeah, but they're also much younger.
Next news item. Please.
Actually, you might not enjoy this one, Man Pants. Man of Steel trailer. So the Man of Steel trailer came out, and it's kind of got a lot of attention this week because we've been waiting to see, what it's going to look like, what it's going to be about. And I don't want to go into like too much detail because, I mean, to be honest, it's still kind of vague. We don't even know what the story really is, and most of it's just kind of speculation.
So why didn't they bring back the Brandon guy?
Because they're doing a complete reboot.
Another reboot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, this is the first Superman reboot.
We had this argument earlier.
This is the first Superman reboot.
Oh, that's right.
Superman Returns was a
for some reason in my head,
shady sequel, but it's still a sequel.
Right. You're right. You're completely right. Sorry.
Yes. See, Errol?
What? No, I'm not arguing.
You were before.
Yeah, but it's weird.
It's weird, but it's still not a reboot.
It's
a
like
sequel.
A reboot sequel.
No, because it's still dependent on the continuity. Very dependent on the continuity.
But they retconned 3 and 4. We had this argument before.
Yeah, gladly retcon 3 and 4. They should have retconned 2 as well.
Yes, but they didn't. So it's like, that's why I say it's more like a reboot. See, Man Bands doesn't care.
No, a reboot would indicate that they're starting over completely.
Yeah, but it's almost like, when you rewind.
This is more of a retcon than a reboot.
It's more like a rewind.
No, it's a retcon than a reboot.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a reboot. Go ahead.
This is a full reboot, so that's why they've recast everything from top to bottom. They're going for a completely different style. They've, dropped John Williams' score altogether, which is really disappointing because
that's dumb.
That theme is so iconic. It really bugs me that it's gone.
Really?
Okay. Well, what?
No, but the problem is they won't replace it with anything good. Probably.
No, they won't. It's just going to be like...
if they replaced it with something just as memorable or something that could be memorable to really reboot Superman, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be smart and actually have something that's...
Well, considering they're using the same people who did The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins, their score wasn't really...
We're going to have a lot of drums.
Yeah, it's just going to be...
Good old Hans Zimmer. I like Hans Zimmer's music.
I enjoy it too, but it's not as iconic and as, when you hear John Williams' score...
It's not that, is it?
When you hear John Williams' score... Oh boy, I've lost them already. I haven't even gotten to the points yet.
Okay. Trailer time.
Well, the trailer's out there if you guys want to find it. See it.
I saw it in The Hobbit.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
Too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what'd you guys think?
You go first.
No, I want to know what you guys think. I've got lots of points to make. I want to know what you guys think.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay, why did you like it?
Okay, well, maybe some of it's probably my ability to get drawn into trailers. I like trailers.
Yeah,
mostly.
me too. I like them too.
And I don't know, like as much as I think the gritty reboots being
just
a bit
like
overdone.
bearded men.
Okay, I was gonna get to that, and as much as I hate to like put into Errol's stereotype of me
and the Harrys,
Superman looks better with a beard in this one.
But it makes no sense that they would do that because it draws the question of how the hell does he shave the beard?
Oh, that's right.
No. What they usually do is he usually uses his laser beam,
which wouldn't work because he can't burn his own hair.
Well, apparently that's what I read in comics.
So
that's what he did in Lois and Clark, which isn't canon.
No, I read that in a comic.
Yeah, they included that after Lois and Clark, but it's still on.
I mean, I'm talking about comic when I was a kid.
Actually, the comics when you're a kid are no longer canon.
Oh, man.
They haven't been for 20 years. Keep up, Errol.
Well, so then if it's a reboot, it could be anything.
It could be.
It could be anything, but it's still one of those stupid things you don't approach because it brings up the question of how they do it unless they address it, which I doubt they're going to. Well, because you can't just use a Bic razor to shave it off.
Okay.
Oh, but you know what? Every time they do like kryptonite, it does different things. All of a sudden, he's vulnerable to like
emotions.
No, different kryptonites do specific things.
No, but I remember doesn't really count. But when you saw Lois and Clark,
which again is not canon,
which isn't canon,
played very fast and loose with the rules of Superman.
Yeah. So you had the good old. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Or even in the
red kryptonite?
No, just normal kryptonite. Like for example, whatchamacallit pierced his skin. Kryptonite can still pierce his skin, and that happened in the last Superman.
Yes, but it almost kills him too.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's not supposed to be able to pierce his skin. He's still
it can't.
invulnerable.
Yeah, it's supposed to pierce his. No, he's not invulnerable. He's not invulnerable. That's the thing that annoyed me with Manda's rant last week is that he's not invulnerable.
Oh,
his anatomy is stronger than a human being's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So certain things cannot affect him, like bullets and conventional human weapons. But he's not completely invulnerable. If he goes up and fights against someone like Doomsday, he was pummeled to a bloody pulp.
Oh yes, but that's because of strength. But
no, it has nothing to. Well, it's because of strength, but it's also because of the physical makeup of Doomsday. He's made up of materials and minerals that are much stronger than anything we have on Earth.
Yes. So in other words, are you trying to say that kryptonite is a strong material that you could break in half and still shove it into Superman's side or whatever?
No, but it weakens him radioactively.
So that you can pierce him.
Yes.
So then he could shave with kryptonite blades.
But it would kill him.
I wouldn't kill him. He had kryptonite in him for days until they removed it.
He had kryptonite in him for 2 minutes.
No, he had
Yes, Lois jumped in the plane, pulled it out, and then he jumped out the side.
But when he was in the what's the thing called? In the hospital, they removed more kryptonite stuff from him inside his body. Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
He was stabbed once in the side.
Yes.
And that was all the kryptonite that was in him. She removed it. He was hospitalized because he lifted a giant island of kryptonite.
I thought I remembered that they removed some kryptonite.
They did not remove kryptonite from him.
I can't remember that movie that well. I remember.
I
remember Kevin Spacey being really cheesy.
I thought Kevin Spacey was awesome in that movie.
I thought he was amazing.
Oh yeah, no, good cheesy, but no, coming at it as somebody who I watched Lois and Clark as a kid. Actually, I watched it almost. You re-see it now. I'm like, wow, yeah, I liked it as a kid, but now I don't know. But
it's like how I liked Knight Rider as a kid.
Knight Rider at least has a kitschy value. Lois and Clark is just bad.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. But coming at it as someone who doesn't know a whole lot about the Superman canon, the obvious one comes from Krypton. There's kryptonite. It hurts him. He can fly. He has a fortress of solitude. That's about my knowledge of Superman. And seeing the trailer, it kind of reminded me, and I really like this movie, and this is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, which is that it reminded me of one of my favorite movies, Unbreakable. The tone of the trailer was very much similar. And in a way, it's a good thing because I liked that tone. In a way, it's like I've seen this movie already.
So now you like Superman then? Because the tone and the story that you're picking up from the trailer, is Superman. It's the core story to Superman.
Oh, I know, I knew that watching Unbreakable as well. I knew there's okay. But I kind of liked how they handled that sort of origin story, which is how does somebody deal with the fact?
Did you ever watch Smallville?
The first episode, and then I was I'm annoyed by pretty girls,
you
and then
gotta
I
watch
wandered
beyond
away.
the first season to get into the meat of Smallville.
Yeah.
Seasons 2 through 5 is what's really good. But see, what I really liked about this trailer is that they hit on the key aspect of Superman that I love so much and that so many people miss because they only ever see the archetype of Superman. They never see the character of Superman.
Right.
And they only ever see, okay, he's this nigh invincible, godlike being. How are you supposed to ever create any drama when nothing can destroy him? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not true because, first of all, he's the most human person in all of comics.
Yeah.
Because he's a very humble, he was raised by humans, so he has very human attributes, very human mindset, and very human approach to life. And for the first, 10 years of his life, he didn't really have any superpowers. So he wasn't nigh invulnerable. And even when he started to develop superpowers, all it did was really alienate him. So there's a much deeper core to who he is and a much deeper pain to who he is.
Well, that's what I like with this sort of trailer implicated. And again, for instance, I love the Avengers for the big, silly superhero movie that it was. I loved it. This one I kind of like just because it's it looks like there's a little more depth, and they're kind of addressing, and I had not read the comics, so I don't know.
Yes.
But they're addressing, for me, the first time anyway, it's the first time I've seen as a non-comic reader them address the issue of what does a kid do when he discovers that, how is it really affecting us? Smallville in a way, but
Smallville had its stupid, silly Freak of the Week and high school drama stuff, but the core of at least the first half of the series was very much, how does this kid who's changing and is becoming very different from all of his friends deal with this and deal with...
So he doesn't have powers when he first comes?
He grows into them, I think.
Yeah.
He grows into his... So he never has... Is that a comic thing or is that a thing?
That's a more recent... The canon was rewritten about 20 years ago to create a very different story. So the story that you saw in the original movie is no longer really applies. So the
story that I might have saw, when you read it in the comics.
But he's had 5 different origins in the comics.
Yes.
And each time they do a new origin, they rewrite it.
Yes. No, I understand that. When did they rewrite it the last time? 20 years ago?
No, last year.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So they rewrote it last year.
Well, to be honest, I haven't been following them. I don't know what the origin is now, but they've kind of gone back to restart everything in the last year or so. I don't know how much of its origin has changed, but the most recent origin beyond that would have been 1986 when they did the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths and rebooted the entire DC universe, including John Byrne went back and did a whole revamp of Superman.
Batman and Superman
scaled back
used to
his
be
powers.
Friends, but they aren't
I know
anymore.
because the animated series had them get together.
Yes, they are. They had a whole comic called Superman Batman for about 10 years.
Yeah. Well, they do that now? You mean?
Yeah, that was 5 years ago.
Because I remember during the Crisis of Infinite Earths, because I read it when it was around, they weren't friends after everything rebooted. They were
they become friends.
Yeah, okay. No, but they weren't the before the Crisis of Infinite, the universe it was, they were best friends or something like that. And then
after they met and got to know each other.
Yeah, but no, afterwards they had to re-meet again because they were and no, I'm not saying
that's
they're
what
enemies.
A reboot is.
Yeah, but that's just it. So,
I'm not sure what your point is.
They change things,
That's what a reboot is.
Yeah.
That's what a reboot is.
And
it's them going back to zero.
Yeah.
They did that again recently with Justice League going back to having never formed until 2011, and Batman only being active for the last 9 years, and Superman just. I'm not even sure what the continuity of Superman is, but it's all muddled as far as I know. And
I think it's completely muddled.
We need new superheroes.
We need a DC expert, not a Marvel expert.
Mm.
Well, to be fair, I read DC for a long time, and then they rebooted everything, and I haven't read since then because I just didn't care. Anyways, back to the trailer. I like that from the trailer, they're focusing on the human aspect of Superman and his vulnerability as a person, as opposed to his invulnerability as a
drama.
Yes, that's how you tell a story, Errol, is with drama. But one of the things I found really annoying, and I know a few people have mentioned this online, and I it's probably me nitpicking, but there's a moment where in the trailer they show Clark saving kids on a bus.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of comments by, my son saw Clark do it, and the parents are obviously trying to deny it. Ma and Pa Kent are trying to deny that there's anything special about Clark. And there's a point where Pa Kent is sort of, I guess, I don't know if he's lecturing Clark or...
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, and Clark says to him, what was I supposed to do, let them drown? And then Pa Kent says, maybe. And I know it's just a small moment. It could just be a trailer thing that they've thrown in to create some mystery, but the moral ambiguity of Pa Kent suggesting that Superman, Clark Kent, even Proto-Superman, should have let somebody die really irks me because Jonathan Kent has always been and will always be Clark's moral compass.
Yep.
Clark's entire moral code comes from the lessons that Jonathan Kent teaches him. And it's so important that Jonathan Kent be the most moral, upstanding person you can possibly imagine. So for him to have this sort of... I know he's got this thing that they keep doing that Jonathan Kent's also the person who tries to protect Clark's identity the most. So he would try and... He would be iffy about, revealing who he is. But at the same time, he should be the one encouraging Clark to help people, to save people, to do something more than what he is, and to be, if somebody's going to die, it should be, great power comes great responsibility. I know that's Spider-Man's line, but it applies to all morally upstanding superheroes.
That's why Superman is as moral as he is.
Yes, is because of the teachings of Jonathan Kent. So I'm really iffy on him kind of suggesting that maybe Clark should have let these kids drown.
Okay, I can see your point there. Yeah.
Right? Because
now, again, that could just be the trailer, the way they cut it to throw in something to intrigue people. I'm angry, so I'm going to go see the movie because I'm angry. I want to see if they're going to do that. I'm not angry, but I don't like if that's the way they're going with Jonathan Kent. I'm not going to be happy. I do love
that reaction. Like, this trailer makes me so angry. I'm going to go pay for the movie to see if it keeps making me angry.
How many people do that? How many fanboys get angry at the trailer and then end up going to see the movie anyways? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it happens.
Anyway.
So yeah, that was the big thing. I mean, we've covered most of the things, like Superman being a misunderstood character. People focus on the archetype. One thing I did want to mention was in the previous podcast, you did mention, how you're supposed to challenge Superman. The way that most people try and do it is you throw in another character who's equally matched in strength, I find that to be boring because it just becomes two people punching each other.
Like Doomsday,
who I've never found to be a very interesting character. It was an interesting arc because of the emotional impact of the loss of, the most iconic superhero in the DC universe and all of the fallout from that. But the whole idea of Doomsday, I'm not huge on. So I've never been keen on the idea of, okay, let's just throw another villain at him who is equal in strength. So it just becomes two guys punching each other because, I mean, especially Superman. Superman's not that great of a fighter. He relies on his strength and speed. So when he's facing off against somebody who's just fast and strong, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he has no actual combat skills. No, he just punches things, which...
It just sort of runs into
it becomes boring. Yeah, and all it's going to be is two guys throwing each other through buildings. I don't see how that's any more interesting than a guy who lifts things.
True, that scene in the last Matrix was really long and boring to watch.
Yeah, exactly. But at least that one had some sort of martial arts prowess to it, so there was some art form and finesse to enjoy.
Martial arts.
The only thing that I can think of that you can do that I think really works well is to challenge him in other ways. Challenge him emotionally, go after things that he cares about.
Well,
challenge him mentally, things that he can't
understand, like
Superman,
everything.
Dumb.
Actually, Superman's quite bright.
He's supposed to be.
Yes.
Well,
no, but one of the best examples was, I know it's not the best depiction of a modern day superhero, but the first Superman movie had a really good issue that Superman had to deal with, which was Lex Luthor launched two different rockets in two different directions, traveling at great speed, because Superman can't be in two different places at once. Even though he has incredible speed, he's not that fast. He's faster than human beings, but he's not lightning.
And two rockets that need to break the Earth's atmosphere. Well, not really, but
no, they were still well within the Earth's atmosphere.
But it still takes a while to
Yeah.
Well, or even and just mark it down that I'm saying this in Spider-Man's defense, for instance. He what I do like about Spider-Man is that he works for the very place that is trying to bash him most of the time. And
you have to understand the difference between Spider-Man and Superman is Superman lives in a rather idyllic world where the status quo is perfection, and he's trying to maintain that perfection, as opposed to Spider-Man or Batman, who live in a rather
corrupt
bleak
cities.
Yes, and are just trying to.
But that's sort of like one way that you could do it is using the media against him, kind of thing.
So which is what I think they're doing with this one, because it's showing him being arrested and taken away by soldiers. I'm sure somebody's going to be using that against him.
So what did he do with the rockets?
Well, he unfortunately the solution to that was really poor, but it's the example.
Time thing?
Yes, which wasn't supposed to be in that movie. They were supposed to be using that for Superman 2, and he was supposed to stop the other rocket, but just barely. It was supposed to be the ending for Superman 2, but because Donner got fired partway through the production of Superman 1, they were shooting both movies at the same time.
So he's like, I'm just going to use my ending.
Yeah, I'm just going to use my ending on this movie because I need an ending. I don't have an ending. I can't go back and shoot. They're getting rid of me. So I'm going to finish my movie, and then they used some of his movie to make the sequel. If you ever get a chance, go see the Donner cut of Superman 2. It's so much better. I wish he had been able to finish it. There's still some
I remember reading
elements.
Something about Cracked in that, where when they brought in the second person for Superman 2, they turned it more into like some sort of comedic...
Yeah. Lester, who was the director of Superman 2, 3, and 4, took a very ridiculous sort
Let's make it more like Home Alone.
You mean the movie that wouldn't come out for another 20 years after that?
Yeah.
Or 10, 12
exactly
years?
What it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, anachronism.
You're welcome.
So, all told, Superman trailer, we still don't know yet.
I'm iffy on it because it doesn't really show me much of the plot. I do like the idea that they're focusing on his humanity.
Do you know what I like? That it doesn't show much of the plot. I mean,
I know everybody seems to like that, but I want to know what he's facing in this movie. It's not enough to me that it's just Superman. I want to know what they're doing different because I'm really iffy on Zack Snyder. I know a lot of people.
That was one thing I was iffy on.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like him because he's exciting and whatnot, but he doesn't do the most mentally complex movies. The exception being Watchmen, but that's based on a mentally complex story. Like it's
I like how you phrase that. I know a lot of people get excited by where he's exciting, and I'm like, he uses bright colors and slow motion so people can.
His action stuff is really good. His style, I like his stylization of his action and whatnot.
Lots of stuff.
But the problem is that when he does the stylization of his action, it's very. It reminds me of Michael Bay, where it's all flash and no substance, sort of thing.
Yeah, other things get sacrificed in the process.
Yeah, like if you ever see Sucker Punch.
Oh, I didn't see it.
God, is that a bad movie?
Really?
I didn't see it. It looked fun, but I never saw it.
It's fun and exciting because it's, girls in short skirts running around kicking ass with guns and blades and whatnot. But
boring.
That's the thing, is the plot is terrible, the character motivation is terrible, the characters themselves aren't great. It's just it's pure fanboyism. And it's what drives me nuts about movies these days. So him doing a Superman movie who's supposed to be an emotionally complex character, yes, with the beard. I know you're excited about the beard.
It's like Riker. How do you prefer Riker?
No, I know. I think it's interesting to show him sort of in this disheveled state, but
Okay, I admit beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how I view Superman.
He was only babyface for like one season,
I know.
and then like the odd episode here or there.
Bearded up, and it was good.
Yeah. So, what was the sequel to The Dark Knight Returns?
The Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Which I never read.
Oh, what was really interesting, though, is like, Superman, I mean, that covers all of them. But when you talk about things like how to best Superman, either mentally or emotionally, they show in that series how they bested Superman. And it was interesting.
Wasn't it just Batman throwing on a kryptonite ring and then beating the crap out of him?
Nope, because he was, it's hard to explain, because if you've never read it, I don't want to give anything away.
The book's 20 years old if they haven't read it by now.
Well, he's held prisoner, right?
Yeah.
Superman is held prisoner. How do you hold Superman prisoner? By holding the things he cares about prisoner.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that was one of the points I was trying to make, but got kind of sidetracked there. But
sorry.
And no, that's okay. It's a discussion. It's about beard. I don't understand the fascination with beards. It's hair.
He looked better with it. He looks like a doofus without it.
I will admit that I kind of like the look of this Superman.
Yeah.
He does look like Superman, but I don't feel the need to have Superman look big and muscular. It never made any sense to me that he would be big and muscular if his anatomy is, naturally stronger.
I want to see Superman just like on the couch eating chips
with a beer belly.
With a beer belly, and he goes out to fight crime every day.
Yeah, it was called The Incredibles.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
But he went to get back in shape.
Like
yeah, but they still did that thing of this non-invulnerable superhero who was no longer active, went out of shape, and was stuck in the 9-to-5 job in the cubicle he doesn't quite fit in, which was hilarious.
Okay.
Anyway.
So are you sure you want to talk about our part 2 main discussion since you haven't seen it, Ja-Mez?
I've read the book, so if there's anything in the movie that's not in the book that I'm not aware of, then I'm not
There's
really...
all sorts of things.
Remember, the movie's 3 hours long, and there's going to be 2 more.
There's all
I know, but
sorts of
if there's
things.
anything in there I'm not aware of, then whatever.
There's all sorts of things.
All sorts.
Now, it's interesting, right? Because we do know a lot of people.
Don't we want to introduce that we're doing part 2?
Oh, I thought you said I didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, but
you have music.
Yeah, but we also didn't really segue there.
Part 2.
Poor Errol. He looks so disappointed to have to do it again.
But that's his favorite part.
I like reverb. Anyway, we're gonna talk about The Hobbit,
Yeah.
which just came out.
We went and saw
Everybody's
it this
excited.
weekend. Yep.
Yep, everybody's excited for Hobbit. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people like it. A lot of people just hate the fact that it was in 48 frames per second in 3D.
Yeah, some people, that's their only sticking point,
Yeah.
actually. That's the 48 frames per second.
So Ja-Mez hasn't seen it. Pans has seen it
yes, I have.
in normal 24 frames per second, non-3D.
Yes.
I saw it in 3D, 48 frames per second. And Ja-Mez hasn't seen it. He's seen it
At
in
all.
0 frames per second.
In any...
in
I saw
darkness.
the original version. It's called a book.
And then I
that
have
was
seen.
that was like a really pretentious tone you had.
I've read the book too.
Me
I
too.
even have the graphic novel in watercolor, and I
Ooh.
did see the 19.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the cartoon.
I
The
have
cartoon
seen
was
the
awesome.
cartoon. I actually saw.
Do you
the
remember the
cartoon last
songs?
year. You know who knows all the songs?
Who knows the songs?
Lehman.
Lehman has memorized every song in that thing. He has it at home, and he'll sing it periodically. So yes, I do know all the songs. I just saw it last year with my girls, so that was fun.
Cool.
So I think the main sticking point is like a lot of people didn't like that because when you watch it, it's weird. And you'll hear this a lot, but it looks like it was made for TV, and so people think they're watching a BBC TV special, and I can't disagree with that because when you watch it, it has that clarity that looks like you're just watching.
Well, see, that's an experience not everyone's going to have because you're not going to get that same issue with the 24 frame.
No, I didn't get
Version.
that.
Yeah, no,
actually,
no, that's just it. So anybody that watches it in the 3D, and this is what anybody that's watched it in 3D in that frames per second, that's what happens. And Leaf brought up the point, it's like nothing blurs.
Yeah,
So-
the motion blur is completely different at different frame rates.
Yes,
And that's
so-
why TV has a completely different look than film. It's actually a really important point because people who buy like 120 kilohertz or whatever the frequency is for the TVs and then sit there and complain when they watch movies and it looks like, a major motion picture like, say, The Dark Knight or, The Avengers or something.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it's a 24 frame film. We know it's shot on film.
Yeah.
And, should the digital transfer should look like film, but it looks like TV on these. It's because of the higher frame rate, and the motion blur completely changes in those instances.
Yeah.
So the higher frame rate of 48 frames per second, especially when it's shot on 48 frames per second, even when you down convert it to 24 frames per second, it's still going to have a different motion blur because the motion blur change.
And I think
when
that
you're shooting it.
will bug some people. For me, after a while, I got used to it, but it's still.
That's what I
always
hear
looked
is that there's motion sickness at first, but a lot of people settled into it and didn't
I
mind
didn't
it.
get motion sickness. I just got used to the fact that it looked like a television show. Because that's what it looked like. It looked like I was watching TV, and it was just so crazy clear that it just looked like that. That wasn't the big thing for me. Every time I see anything in 3D, though,
I hear that the CGI was really poorly affected by the 3D because it brought out all the detail.
I do know that when I saw it in 2D, some of the CG, in particular, actually. Woo! Sorry, Errol's graphic novel.
That's why I didn't say anything.
I say things. But when I saw it in 2D, a couple of things looked even more CG, and I wasn't sure whether that was because it was meant to be seen in 48 frames per second, or because it was just slightly worse CG than we're used to seeing. I'm not sure. But
To be honest, I'm not sure how the breakdown works. I'd have to see it myself. And
yeah.
I would say that the one thing that does bother me about 3D, and this I noticed it a lot too when I saw John Carpenter. Is that what I saw?
God.
John Carter.
Carter, whatever. not the horror guy. Anyway, so when I saw
John Carpenter walking down the street and it was in 40 frames per second, I was really
At least
confused.
to the camera. I was
every landscape shot with people in it always looked like tilt shift photography to me. Right? So it will always look like that I'm looking at this big thing, and then you have all these little models just walking. And that's what all 3D, and because it's Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit, and they always have traveling shots, let's go through the mountains.
Let's have another vista.
Let's
to
go
stare at.
through the fields,
Yeah.
right? So it always stuck out to me as well. That.
Yeah.
That's something that I find funny when people complain about Lord of the Rings and they say there was so much walking.
No, I don't mind the walking.
Oh, I don't
I
mind
keep
it.
wanting to tell them, read the book.
Yes,
There's so much more walking.
And
Yeah.
there's more
There's like
songs.
hundreds of pages of nothing but walking.
Oh, there's songs.
So many
galore.
songs. It was
No,
like-
I don't
God,
mind the
songs.
walking. It was just the fact that because of that, it removed me from the movie because it's like, oh, we're back into the model
Yeah,
walking.
I didn't have that issue.
Yeah,
luckily,
no, I did
so,
because I saw
yeah.
it in 3D.
Oh.
Now, I would say for The Hobbit, the one thing I did like is that there was a lot of things I loved in it, and then there's a lot of things that were like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, there was nothing. Yeah, there was nothing that was particularly. I read The Hobbit. I think I read it first before I read Lord of the Rings, and I loved it when I read it as a kid.
Manpans likes The Hobbit because there are cute guys in it, and I'm not even
No.
lying. Yes,
Yes.
because Thorin is good looking.
Thorin. Okay, that was actually a sticking point with me in a way.
A sticking point in a very pleasant way.
Okay.
Ooh, look at it stick.
Shut up,
I'm going to
Errol.
go look at my phone.
Thorin. It was funny though, because like in a way, I was wondering why they didn't make him more dwarf-like. Because the main dwarf, Thorin Oakenshield, is a good-looking dwarf. And in none of the Lord of the Rings movies, in all of the other dwarves, there's two of them actually.
Let's take a look at the graphic novel I have.
Yeah, let's see
He's
how
this
does
old
Thorin.
bearded guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who was the graphic novel done by? Like, it might not be
I
a very official depiction either.
Well,
Like what's their names? Lee and Howe, the guys who do those really like colorful illustrations, that they based a lot of the architecture and design in Lord of the Rings on. I think they're a much better representation of what the characters would look like.
Yeah, like dwarves though. They'd
Yeah,
still all
dwarves.
look like dwarves.
see the funny thing is,
But that's the thing is, I like the fact that they didn't make the dwarves look all like Gimli,
I
and
actually
that
don't
there's some
mind that they
diversity
look.
to.
I don't
I liked
mind it.
that. It
I don't
was-
mind it looks.
it was just everyone.
Because I was really worried they were going to do the elf thing and make everybody
It's
look the
just
same.
that Thorin Oakenshield looked the most
Human?
with human features
Yeah.
on him. So like the rest of the dwarves had like, they had the usual prosthetics. Yeah, they didn't all look like Gimli. I really liked that actually.
Yeah.
They all had personality. They all had very distinct features to them, but they were all still very dwarvish features.
Okay.
And Thorin, and then there's two other ones.
There's two other good-looking young
There's
ones.
two other good
Philly
ones.
and Killy, I think. maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Philly and Killy, whatever.
Gilly and Gilly, and they're, but it just kind of amused me because like they were introducing all the dwarves, and then in comes Thorin Oakenshield, and you said he was an old man in the graphic novel and stuff. In this
Yeah,
one,
I think
he's supposed to be old.
older.
He is old. He has like gray streaks, very strategically placed to like it was like the professionally disheveled hair kind of look.
Right.
But if you're old,
So he's still distinguishing looking and
oh yes,
very dapper.
I wouldn't say he's dapper looking.
not dapper, no.
No, he looks like what's his face?
He kind of looks like Aragorn a bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
they made him look like Vigor.
Yeah, Vigor.
Whatever his name is.
Vigor.
Whatever. I don't
See,
know.
I always thought he looked very disheveled. He
No, that's
he
just
looked
it.
less human than
Yeah, but that's just
even
it.
when he was the king.
The
he's
women
sort of,
like that.
I guess.
Look
I'm
at
gonna
Man
vouch
Pants. She's just going,
Well, they're not-
whoa,
okay,
I
but
like
they're
the
not-
disheveled.
They're not going to make the Hobbit look attractive, and they're not going to make Gandalf
It's
look
the
attractive. So they
rugged
got to make somebody
good-lookingness.
look attractive.
No,
And Thorin's
this
the
is not
next
a
biggest
critique.
character.
No.
I don't care if
I'm not
Thorin's good looking.
critiquing
Man
this.
Pans wants a man.
I shouldn't have admitted that.
He probably
Anyway.
would have picked up on something anyways to make fun of you through the movie,
Yeah, probably. But
especially since they all have beards.
So, but there are a few things because, and we're gonna explain to you how it starts. Do you want us to explain how it starts off?
Gandalf comes to Bilbo and say, "I'm going to need you
No.
for a party."
Nope.
Actually,
Nope.
it starts off with Bilbo as an old,
Oh yeah. The
Hobbit.
bookends of.
but it spends about 5 to 10 minutes
Longer, I think.
at the beginning. Frodo comes in for a cameo right at the very beginning, and it's
I know
just
Legolas has a cameo.
I'm just sitting there the whole time like I wanna see Bilbo go on an
Legolas has a
adventure.
cameo?
What?
Where?
Yeah.
When?
During one of the elf scenes.
There are
Maybe
many
not in
of
this
them.
movie, but he's going to be in one of them.
Oh, is
Oh,
he?
okay.
Well, they were talking about how the Greenwood is now being known as the Mirkwood, which I think is that where
I think
it
so.
comes
I don't
from?
remember.
Yeah.
So there are some places that I liked that they extended, and other play times that was like, wow, are we padding this?
Like Radagast the Brown.
I hear Radagast was a really trying sequence, and I hear the Trolls wasn't very well done either.
I like the Trolls.
The thing is, the problem with The Hobbit is that
It's a 300-page book.
it's a
that they're
300-page book,
extending
and
to-
it's a much lighter book.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to, I think some of what they were trying to do was to capture some of the gravitas and weight of Lord of the Rings in a story that's really...
To be fair, they did the same thing in Lord of the Rings, where they would focus. They would kind of push big scenes that were in the books out of the way. They would push sort of big scenes out of the way in that, scenes that were bigger in the book that didn't really matter as much to the plot, and then kind of expand upon things that were smaller in the book but still meant more because Tolkien wasn't a very good writer.
But this was stuff
he didn't know how to tell a story properly, so he kind of like glossed over certain things and then went back in the appendices and expanded upon them. So they take those scenes and expand upon them, make them what they were supposed to be.
Like Arwen, for instance.
Okay.
As far as I knew, Arwen just sort of... I remember.
Yeah, she was
reading
only
the
supposed to appear at
Fellowship.
the council, and that was it.
Yeah, she appeared, and then she waved goodbye to them, and that was it.
Yeah.
And
And then the next thing you know, she's got a whole fight scene in Two Towers. And
Poor women.
yeah, women have it hard in Lord of the Rings and Shakespeare.
Yeah, there's no women.
women have it hard in a lot of media.
Poor women.
Yeah.
You know what? What I will say, and I think everybody probably would agree, is good old Martin.
Yes, Martin Freeman is awesome as Bilbo.
Good. I was really worried about
good.
that.
Bilbo.
Really? You were worried about that?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh.
Because the types of characters he normally plays wouldn't strike me as sort of a Bilbo type character.
Really? Because I'd find Watson in Sherlock. Well, he plays Watson in Sherlock, and it's kind of like that character in that sometimes he's a bit more reluctant. But
yeah, but there's a difference in the reluctance that.
He's he's very good in this.
And
good.
Bilbo also makes a dramatic change through the course of the book to go from that reluctant character to a very motivated character
I guess
towards
I've
the end.
seen him in more things.
And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure I have nothing against Martin Freeman.
No,
I know he's a good actor, but I haven't seen him make that kind of dramatic.
See, I've seen him in more. I think I've seen him in enough movies that the moment
Like
I heard
the only
he was
frame
playing,
of reference I have for him is The Office, Sherlock, and what was the movie he did?
Love Actually.
42.
Oh,
42.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh, yes, right. Arthur Dent.
yeah,
but I've seen him in a couple more things other than
He
that.
didn't do
and
much in that, though.
yeah. That was my
No.
problem. Is that
Yeah,
he sort
I
of
think that was a bit.
even in The Office he didn't really do much. He just was sort of kind of a jerk every once in a while, and then
No, it's
But-
great here because at the beginning of it, he seems, prissy, kind of
Yeah.
unsure of himself, but he has his ways and he likes those ways.
Yeah.
And all
Good.
of a sudden, what the heck? Who is this? Leave me alone. I like what I'm doing. And then people come in and you can tell he's really upset by this, but he doesn't know how to express his will. And so he just goes, no. And it's
I
and
very
he does
much
it,
related to.
and he does it really well. And then you're attached to him from almost the get-go.
No, see, I was never worried. As soon as I heard
Well,
Martin
see-
Freeman was playing him,
Yeah.
I was pretty sure that it was going to be awesome.
Whereas I'm never attached to Frodo.
when I
No,
see
Emo.
when I saw Ian Holm play Bilbo, that to me was the epitome of everything I ever saw Bilbo as, where he was that sort of comfortable, homely sort of guy, but at the same
I
time,
wonder if they'll
you could
retcon
see
that
him
and
as
put him into the original Lord of the Rings, just like Lucas.
oh god.
Why do you have to bring? Speaking of which, one of the reviews that made me laugh about this, relating to this movie, was they referred to it as the Phantom Menace of the Lord of the Rings series.
What? No,
No, it's not that bad.
No,
No, it's not that bad.
Bilbo for me, like as Errol was saying, as a character, even when I was reading him, I loved Bilbo in.
Oh, I
Hobbit.
love Bilbo too.
And I love.
In fact, I was annoyed when I read that. I'd read The Hobbit first, and then I was going to read Lord of the Rings, and I did some research beforehand, and I read that Lord of the Rings, Bilbo was barely in it, and they replaced him with some ridiculous nephew that I didn't give two craps about, and
well, that was the thing. Like Bilbo,
I was annoyed because I wanted more Bilbo.
More of an emotional journey to go through, like, or he had more to prove, he had more to discover about himself.
Yeah, I'd be careful. I'd say Frodo's journey was pretty emotionally.
No, it's in a different way. Like
it's less heroic and more tragic.
Frodo
for Frodo
didn't grow in any way. It's tragic. Like
I think he did grow, but he grew sort of in a. I want to say reverse, but that's not the right way to phrase it.
He basically was, for me anyway.
He descended as a character.
He descended, well, yeah.
Because he's
which is still a story arc,
which
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is still a story arc, but it's a significant change in the character that I think they did really well. And
but it's one of those things where like the more engaging character, Sam,
pretty
much gets the shaft.
Yeah.
In every.
No, I think Sam they depicted Sam really well in the movies.
Oh no,
Like,
they
yeah,
depicted him
yeah.
very well, but it just sort of reinforced like. Why is everyone thanking Frodo?
Hey, they all bowed to all four of them. So
That's true, but poor Sam.
that scene, to this day, still makes me cry every
it's
time
a
I see
sad
that scene. That's not a
It's
sad
nice
scene.
one.
That's an
No.
awesome
It's
scene. But to see
it's a sentimental scene.
yeah, and seeing that after that 14-hour marathon of films.
Yeah, see, why would you do that? Oh, I saw a wonderful tweet that was really funny. It was like, so a school teacher wanted their kids to do a report on The Hobbit, the movie, so they decided to save some time and read the book instead.
I saw that
was
tweet
great.
too. I might have retweeted that one actually.
Yeah, I retweeted it.
It was good. It was good though. Like some of the stuff they added, was a bit too much. It was like you didn't really need to spend time on that, did we? Like
What I did
Does
like,
Radagast actually add anything to the story?
in a way,
Sort of.
Because I know they're doing the whole council and they're doing
Yeah.
the whole necromancer thing.
Yeah, they're linking. It's linking more to which wasn't in the book, The Hobbit. Which they're linking it more to the Lord of the Rings.
They're linking it to the appendices because I know the necromancer ends up being Sauron, but it's all supposed to be simultaneous to the events of The Hobbit. But at the same time, it doesn't have anything to do with the events of The Hobbit,
Tolkien.
except to explain where Gandalf keeps disappearing to.
Yeah.
Which
No, that's
isn't
good.
really necessary because Gandalf is just Gandalf.
And he
it's
always
explained.
disappears.
It's explained well enough in dialogue. A wizard, appears and disappears as wants. I
But
don't remember the exact line. But
what I do like is the fact that it gives Gandalf more motivation about why he's helping the dwarves and why he's even involved.
okay, I would like to see that, but I mean,
it was more because it was more like should we? No, I guess that's
do they give
spoilery at this
do they
point.
give more weight to why Frodo or why Bilbo's more than just him being the lucky 14?
It's
Nope.
like why is he the 14th?
No.
Is that what you're
No, like-
why did he choose Bilbo?
Oh,
Why
well,
did he choose
Yeah,
Bilbo,
did.
and why did they?
Not really.
He sort of did
Because seriously, him out of what? There's tons of hobbits.
because he
so why
remembers him as a kid.
Yeah.
That was what he was saying. There's a little speech.
So they do expand upon the mythology
a
Okay,
little
okay.
bit. It was.
But,
I
mean, it's not a very convincing argument. So you remember him as a kid, and now you trust him now. I know many kids, and I'm not going to put them
I
in
think
a
the
very
idea would be that
important mission.
I think the idea would be that Gandalf has a little more insight than we do, especially since he's supposed to be, a god.
answer magic.
Well, no, Gandalf is essentially a god on
Yes.
Earth, so
Yes.
he's supposed to have. He's not just magical. He's just supposed. He has a better understanding of how the world works and how we work.
No, I understand that. He's not. I mean, he's. I wouldn't even put him like God on Earth if you think about it, because he's really. They don't really. Wizards don't seem to do much. Which
No,
is really
they
interesting
are
in the Lord of
they
the
are
Rings.
almost literally gods on Earth. It's
Yes,
they're
I know.
the
They
same
are
species
different.
as the Balrog.
Yeah.
Well,
They've just chosen two different forms.
the one thing I actually would have liked to have expanded on a bit, as expansive as that movie was, I would have liked them to have spent just a little more time with Bilbo. Because once he decides that he's gonna go, you don't actually see a whole lot of him except for those pinnacle scenes, like the Smeagol scene.
And I will say,
getting
the
Sting
Gollum,
and-
Smeagol, Bilbo scene is brilliant.
Yeah, I've
if
heard
you
that.
go and
But I mean, that's going to be their big linchpin moment because it's the big connecting scene between the two series. So they kind of need to like.
But
I can see
not-
them making that
not
huge.
just because of that, like not just because it's like a very quintessential scene.
But they're both of them together.
The performers are
No, I know, but
Brilliant.
what I'm saying is they would have spent a little more time
Oh yeah, no, they
massaging and working
yeah.
that and writing it and trying
they
to find
put all
that.
their money into what Gollum looks like.
Yeah.
yes.
all of it, because there's this was something that annoyed me all, and this is nitpicky, but there's like they kind of create. Was the albino orc?
Oh, that's creative.
The
yeah.
Goblin King.
No,
another guy.
they're the albino.
They
orc.
made a new revenge story kind of thing.
Oh God.
So
Because they really needed more stuff in
So
this movie.
they're being hunted. So Thorin and the dwarves are being hunted by an albino.
Oh, so it's the Uruk-hai all
you
over
find
again.
out why he's called Thorin Oakenshield. Yeah, I didn't know
Because
why.
he has a shield made of oak.
Yes, but then you find out where that came from. An oak tree. No.
I was going to say from the kingdom that they're originally from.
Yeah,
they're trying to
exactly.
take back.
But so there's a whole story. They kind of create a revenge story behind it.
Well, that was always in the story. Like that was the whole purpose of them going on the journey was to take back their
Yes,
kingdom.
but there was an orc.
Not just the riches, but their
there was
oh,
an
there
orc
was an orc.
there who he kind of defeated and who's really
Oh,
not
and this
so happy about
and
it.
this albino one is somehow related to him. And
No. The albino one is the one he defeated.
oh, okay.
And he
When you
thought-
say defeated, I thought
he-
you meant like
Well,
killed.
he's thought dead. Anyway, the albino orc is
Eagles. Sorry.
very jarring, actually, like in terms of CG, because
Oh, God.
he's all CG, and I think poor Errol. I've said this like 3 times to him in front of him. You see like the Lord of the Rings, and you see like the Uruk-hai, for instance, and it's an actor.
Yeah, it's an
in
actor
the
in makeup.
This one is all completely CG, but it's because they put all their money in
Well,
Gollum.
it'd be motion capture.
Hmm?
It would still
Yeah,
be
it's motion capture,
so-
but it's very obviously fake. Like a little more obviously than the rest of the creatures.
Right.
That's why it's
Because
jarring to
Gollum
me.
looks so good.
Gollum looks so freaking
I
good.
hear the Goblin King looked really bad.
Yep.
That's disappointing. 'cause
No, he
was-
looked
was one of, like-
gross.
He looked gross. And
No,
was
he
fine.
well, he's supposed to be gross, but I mean, like he didn't look convincing, kind of thing.
He was funny looking. The only trouble is that there's a lot of interesting voice choices.
Yeah.
That's why I'm nervous about when they get to Smaug,
but
because
it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
who I like, but he doesn't strike me as the kind of voice that I would like for Smaug until I saw this recent Star Trek trailer where
Yes.
he's got the he almost sounds like Patrick Stewart in that, which kind of surprised me. I'm like, why is Patrick Stewart doing the
If you've
voiceover
seen,
for this?
have you've seen Sherlock, right?
Yes,
Have you seen? Well, this is like
I didn't see the last episode.
okay. Well, but there's
I haven't
also
seen the first. No spoilers.
okay. There's also
There's a guy named Sherlock, and he solves crimes.
I'm gonna
Crap.
let me.
Errol just about swore. What happened to Oh Crumbs?
It's gone. No, so there's another movie called Atonement, actually, which Benedict Cumberbatch is actually such a chameleon of an actor
He
that
likes him.
no. Anyway, I don't.
Ow.
Errol. Anyway, he's such a chameleon of an actor that I didn't realize he was in this movie that I loved. I own the movie. I watch it a lot, and when I first saw Sherlock, God, Errol. I'm going to murder you. But he's a very versatile actor, so I'm going to be really interested to see what he does with Smaug.
And it's only just a voice job, so it's not going to be... Because I think one of the things I like about Benedict Cumberbatch is his physicality, too.
Yes.
So I'm not convinced that his voice is necessarily going to be anything. It's especially when you watch him in Sherlock. He's an eccentric guy, but he's also sort of... I don't know what the word... He's not, like, over-the-top crazy, like Doc Brown eccentric, but
No.
he's sort of... He's a very physical character, and he's very sort of...
But
Because he's very tall and gangly and...
yeah, in Atonement, he's actually the villain in
Yeah.
a way, as close as you can get to a villain in that movie. And to see him in the scene that he's in, he's very menacing and very. It's interesting. Anyway, I can't quite describe it. I have an acting crush on him,
Yeah.
so I wish I could marry his acting ability. Punch you in the face.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Michael Fassbender, who I've got a almost gay crush on. That man is amazing.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
So there are a lot of things added. I do like what they added to like give weight more to what Gandalf is doing.
Yeah,
I thought that was
like
fine.
that.
I found some of the expressions rather interesting, right? I like Martin Freeman. I mean, I love Martin Freeman, actually. He does great things. But sometimes I'll notice weird expressions from the other actor, right? So when Gandalf first sees Galadriel and Elrond is behind him, and then I see Elrond kind of like smiling, smirking. Yep, that's her. I was like, whatever happened?
We planned this for like 2 hours. I was like, okay, you stand there, and I'll be like, oh, someone wants to see you, and he won't know who it is, and then I'll step aside.
It was the weirdest look on his face ever. It's like, and it was, what? So it seemed weird, and even Gandalf had like some interesting expressions.
Gandalf had some interesting ones too. I don't know whether it was because it was Ian McKellen trying to be a little more light-hearted.
Maybe. I want you to
it may not have been him at all. It may have been editing choices.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because especially on a movie of this caliber, you'll be doing a lot of takes. So the takes you end up seeing in a movie are very much the choice. It's the choice of the director, but it's also the choice of the editor. So sometimes they can completely change the performance.
We know.
Yeah, but you guys had very limited takes in your musical, so
yeah. But still, it was like we always choose takes.
Try cutting an actual professional thing, and you'll just see how many variations.
I know we're not worthy.
We're not.
No. I'm not saying you're not worthy. I'm just saying it'll blow your mind how much stuff they go through and how little you actually end up seeing.
Oh, I know that we only had like 7 takes, and real places like have 100.
Yeah.
But even with the 7, it was like, the actor was going, I don't want that one. It's like, tough. It's the only one that fits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like it's the only one where the mic doesn't come into the shot.
And so, yes.
Or where Errol doesn't look at the camera or something. I don't know.
So when it comes to things like, usually it's whatever looks the best.
Yep.
Yeah, that's usually the way of editing sort of a low budget thing.
It'd be interesting to see a pro one.
It's scary how much I'm right now because I work in editing. I'm going through a lot of raw footage for the show, and I'm finding that maybe about 5% of the material that they shot was used in the show, and even then, there's 19, 20 different variations of a thing that they might do, and I have to look through every single one of them to find all the great moments.
You would think, though, some after a while that they would figure, I don't know. The acting seems to be more of like less of a perfectionist kind of thing because there's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's why a lot of actors. By the way, that's why a lot of actors prefer the stage rather than film, because it's their own performance that they're putting out. Whereas in film, you'll give them like 9 different versions of the same thing, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, just because you do the scene so many times.
Yeah.
And they'll cut together bits and pieces from each of those, and then completely shape a performance that you didn't mean. And I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just saying that in a situation like that where, Gandalf's giving weird faces, it might have just been, well, we need to cover this shot, so let's cut away to.
There was, I was like, they were consistent enough that they seemed a little more like either directing or acting choices. Than they did,
So it was at least consistent in tone of the performance.
Yeah, no, it was consistent in tone of the performance. Like he looked clueless half the time.
Which I like Gandalf to be. I mean, he was so revered in Lord of the Rings. I kind of like him to be sort of slightly absent-minded.
Well, like when they ask him, like when Martin or when Bilbo kind of not pokes fun, but when he's like asking about the wizards of the world, and he's like talking about Radagast. He's like, "Is he a great wizard?" He's like, "Oh, I think he's a great wizard." He's like, "So better than you."
Yeah, that was fun. There are some really good lines in there.
Yeah.
Actually, another thing too is sometimes I find that they because they're like, okay, we have 3 movies to tell this story.
Why?
So why don't we just let's dwell on everybody's reaction to this comment? And it's like, really, we could probably guess that. Yep, there's the look from Gandalf. Yep, Elrond also is not very pleased with this.
Elrond's never pleased with anything.
Well, I know, but it's just like, come on, you could edit that title. Well,
I did like seeing Sauron again. I liked seeing him in.
They had Sauron too.
Oh
yeah. Oh.
What? Oh, I guess the council.
Well, but he wasn't evil yet, so
no,
he was
but
just,
I mean, it just sort of.
But he was just sort of like kind of curmudgeon-y, like when Gandalf's like, something weird's going on. He's like, oh, Gandalf, you crazy old man, you. Let me tell you why you're crazy.
He was more like a principal.
Yeah, he was. He was like, well, I'm looking at this knife here and I don't see anything
And
wrong.
another thing too is that what is they hint at a past between Galadriel and Gandalf, and I haven't read the Silmarillion or anything, so I have no idea what that is.
Well, I don't think Silmarillion was a completely different story. It would have been the appendices that would have had that kind of information.
I have
It's like
no idea
one
where
time
they would have got.
Galadriel got with Gandalf
I don't
and
know,
they made out
'cause
and
it was
stuff
weird.
at the Christmas party. I don't know. But yeah, they have a moment. And
Great.
yeah.
Sorry, are we spoiling
no,
all this for
you see it in the trailer.
You see it in the trailer.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but a lot of people were kind of concerned about that. I just brush it off as no, it's just the way the trailer editor cut it together. But apparently not. They've actually put a little
thing
in there.
It's more like they don't
which I
actually-
find weird then that they had
It's hard to explain.
Elrond kind of doing the winky nudgy, poking him towards him because Elrond
I'll
is
just
his,
leave you
like,
two alone now.
Elrond is what's her name? Galadriel's son-in-law, if I understand correctly.
Oh no, I know he has brown hair.
Well, no, he is her son. Like, because what's her name is her daughter, her granddaughter.
Oh, is she?
Arwen is her granddaughter.
I didn't know this.
So it's kind of weird that he's pushing Gandalf to. I'm gonna make you, honey.
Oh well, who knows?
Who knows?
But so there are a lot of great parts in it. There are
Yeah.
a lot of
There's a lot
interesting parts in it.
interesting, yeah. There's.
But I liked it though.
I liked it. It made me I was smiling in the theater.
It was
during some
But
parts.
I mean, it was a movie that I could tell that my butt was getting sore, but at the same time, I didn't mind it that much.
yeah,
So
I loved.
You didn't mind your butt getting sore?
Nope.
I
didn't.
loved. It's the song they sing in the trailer too. I loved the.
They do the songs very well.
They do the songs
Oh
very
God,
well.
why did they include the songs?
No, but there's
no,
two
not
of them.
Ben. There's two, and it's near the beginning, and that's about it.
Okay, if it's
I
them
would-
singing in the kitchen, that's fine, or in the dining room sort of
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I got
It's when
worried
they're,
when
like,
they got to
walking-
Rivendell, and I was like, "Uh-oh, the elves are playing flutes. Does this
They're
mean
gonna
we're
play-
gonna get some elvish emo songs?" No.
see, that's what I liked about Lord of the Rings when they did the extended edition of Fellowship was they'd cut out all of the songs in all the movies, and then they just managed to include one in the extended edition of Fellowship when they're in the bar and they're drunk and they're singing
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense to have a song. So it makes
The
sense
one-
when the dwarves are in the kitchen, drunk and throwing plates around and being ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, but
that
at the
makes
same
sense.
sort of time,
But
it
when
makes...
you're walking along for 3,000 kilometers and you're singing a song because you're bored out of your
Dude,
mind,
there's no iPod.
montage,
Yeah.
montage,
No,
montage,
no, They
montage.
didn't do that, but no, they do a good job. I think they did a great
Yeah.
job of the whole song thing. Yes.
I loved it. So
Yes,
okay,
you did.
Errol. I was gonna say it'd be interesting to see somebody who doesn't know the source material. What would happen if they saw The Hobbit first before they saw Lord of the Rings?
Well, that'd be like doing the Phantom Menace before you saw Star Wars. That's just ill-advised.
I don't know though, because I was watching it. I'm like, now is there enough hints being dropped that, like, other than because the only real like nudge about the ring was as soon as he finds it that the music starts up, the Lord of the Rings music.
Did it even show like the text on it at all, or was
No,
it just
no, it was just
okay,
the ring.
good.
And you didn't hear the or anything like that. So it's
Good.
like I was interested to see like what someone might think who's just going into this blind.
No, I like when they do that where it's the subtle music. Like that was one of the things I did like about the Star Wars prequels was they would throw in little musical cues about stuff that would come in the other films that unless you're familiar with that material you're not going to get. But it's still
There was nothing subtle about that ring.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah,
like the
'cause
music
when it-
started up every time he brought it out. And then
Yeah.
you saw Bilbo.
When it first appears, the ring leaves out of Gollum's pocket, and it's all in slow motion.
all slow motion.
And then
Well-
great
Whoa,
big
whoa, whoa, whoa,
thumps.
whoa.
What?
Why does Gollum have a pocket?
In his
He has
loincloth.
a pocket in his loincloth.
When he has the precious, he has to have a place to keep it.
Where
How does he
keep
have-
it?
In his loincloth.
How is there a pocket in his
I
loincloth?
have a pocket in mine.
I don't ever want to see that. Please don't demonstrate it for me. We've lost man bands.
I keep all sorts of things in there, like jerky.
No, don't say anymore.
You can keep Lembas bread in there. Unless it gets all crumbly. That wouldn't be good, because then you have crumblies. And don't want moist lemon bread.
Okay, I think we're about done now.
I think so.
Yeah. So, on that note, I like The Hobbit. The end.
I did like it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people won't, but I don't really care, and I had fun.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Ninja Turtles.
I probably wouldn't want to sit there.
I was
There's
so
an
excited
extended
this
version
week.
of that movie. Seriously, I will
Wow,
not
that was
watch.
amazing.
What?
Ja-Mez started getting excited, and you just rose right above. Like, the volume of your voice just went up. Like, is someone else talking? I can't let that
I
happen.
can't even be happy.
Sorry, what were you happy about, Ja-Mez?
I got to go shopping for my nephews for Christmas this year.
Oh, we saw pics.
And the number one thing they wanted for Christmas was Ninja Turtle stuff. Apropos of nothing to do with my influence, I'm so excited that I get to give them Ninja Turtle stuff. So I went all out, spent way too much money on stuff. I can't wait to watch them open it. I almost want to bust out the toys and play with them myself.
Almost?
Almost.
You do want to do that.
No, because I don't want to sully the package
No,
until they
that's
get
true.
it.
All right. Are we stopping
My
now?
name's not Man Pants.
My name's not Ja-Mez.
I'm not Errol.
And we are so happy to have Ja-Mez back.
Yes, we are.
Because he keeps us on track with the
He did.
news.
You keep talking over top of me.
And he keeps us on track with the topic. And he's behind me. So that
he
gives me a
is.
presence behind me and makes me not feel alone. Oh.
Hi.
Okay, done.
So are we actually done now?
Go press stop.
Fade to black. Don't forget, guys, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at 3 Geeks in a Pod. That's the number 3. You can also like us on Facebook. And if you want to keep up with all the latest news and updates about our podcasts and videos and other announcements that we'll make, you can find us at our blog, 3geeksinapod.wordpress.com. You can also stay in touch with our friends and fans at the forums on our sister site, debsnarrow.com. Or if you want to contact us directly, email us at 3geeksinapod@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.